Good morning. Welcome to Growing Dreams Homestead. I'm Dana, and my family and I are homesteading on 10 acres in Indiana. We are a Zone 6A. It is a beautiful Sunday morning, and I thought today would be a good day to do a little walk around the homestead and see everything that is growing and blooming. And there's a lot going on right now. It's the beginning of June, and everything is looking so beautiful. I thought I would start up in the front, and my favorite flower, my daisies, are blooming, and I feel like they're early this year. I don't know if anybody else feels like things are early this year, but I definitely do. But I love it. And I wanted to show you, I planted a mum in this metal urn, and I did not think it would come back because I know it froze to the core, but it came back, so that's pretty cool. Here in the front of the house we have this lovely flower bed that I wanted to be just like a rambling cottage garden style, and it is filling out really well. It actually had so much echinacea that I had to dig a lot out and move it because it was just overtaking everything, but I think it's starting to really look pretty, and pretty soon it'll all be in bloom and just be gorgeous. So as we head down the property, this is my little shade garden area, and it is looking so lovely. I have really enjoyed spending a lot of time in the flower beds and working in the garden and things like that. I think the next thing I'm going to show you will be the orchard, because it is just doing amazing right now. Alright, so here is our orchard, and the first trees we planted back when we bought our property when there was nothing here in 2016, and that is the row that is closest to the flower garden. So this first row right here, and then each additional row has been years after. So here's an apple tree, and there are lots of apples in here. I don't know if you can, there's one there. There's some apples. So just looking really lovely. Through here we have some lavender planted, and then we have our grapes. And check it out. There's some clusters on there. Then we have our pear tree that is just covered in pears. It's going to be a little while for them, but hello kitty cat. We have our peaches, and some of them are starting to get some color, and they are just looking wonderful. And we have two peach trees, and both of them have a ton of peaches on them. So here's our, this cat is under my feet. There's our second peach tree, just loaded down with peaches. So beautiful. Behind me we've had some deer. You can see this tree right here. Deer came through and they have stripped the branches and broke a couple of them. They like fruit just as much as we do. And our blueberries. I think blueberries just take a while here to get established, so I'm just gonna keep hoping on that one. Alright, so then as we come down through the orchard, there's another apple tree that has quite a bit of apples on it as well. So hopefully this year we will get a lot of fruit, and I think the orchard is just looking really good. I can't wait for years down the road and to see how established it gets. Alright, so behind the orchard, our elderberries are blooming. Look how beautiful these are. I just think the flowers are gorgeous. So we will have lots of elderberry very soon. And right behind the elderberry we have a mulberry tree, which has been visited by all the critters. But look in here, all the mulberries are starting to turn, and they are just everywhere. So that's super cool. Isn't it neat how plants just make food for us? It's so cool to me. So behind us is the flower garden, and it is doing really well. The zinnias and sunflowers are starting to come up, and there is a lot of weeding to be done, and that takes a very long time because I do all that by hand. But I wanted to show you our perennials that we have had in this space and establishing this space. So the inside row, this row right here where the kitty cat is a row of perennials, and I hope to just keep expanding it. But it is looking lovely. These daisies are as tall as I am. And we have some yarrow that is starting to bloom, and our lilies. It's just a pretty mixed border. Then we have dahlias that are looking good, no blooms yet. And I've come through and planted some seed and things to kind of expand this area. It's a butterfly bush, more daisies, hardy hibiscus, the lupins. I don't know why they haven't done very well in this spot. This is their third summer, and they just stay really small. And I see other people's that are really big, so I'm gonna have to work on that. My snapdragons that have been coming back, they're also pretty sparse, so not sure. Maybe get some fertilizer down here. Some echinacea, bachelor buttons, more echinacea, and then it gets thick again in here with yarrow and lilies and more daisies. So overall, I think it's so pretty, and I can't wait for those outside rows. There's one there and one there to fill in with all the zinnias and sunflowers. I think it's just going to be gorgeous. In the middle we have our herb beds, which are doing great. Look at my marshmallow plant. It's probably like 8 feet tall. In the very back row, back here, I added some Rose of Sharon bushes. So my hope is that one day they will grow up and there will just be like a screen of flowers back there. I think that'll be really pretty as a backdrop for the flower garden. So my mojito mint is going wild. The oregano looks pretty nice. It's popped there in the middle, and it's kind of getting surrounded, so I may end up having to move that oregano. We have sage, and there's some strawberries, and our hyssop. It's just beautiful and covered with blooms. I have my huge thyme plant, and some cilantro, and dill, another oregano, a peppermint, and then, like I said, look at that marshmallow. It is so tall and so pretty. And my arch, of course, is covered with clematis, which are not currently in bloom. A little piggy update. There's Rosie and Violet, doing well, enjoying the mud. We've had lots of rain. Hey girls. Hey pretty girls. Alright, so we are gonna take a little walk so I can show you some other cool things. So we were very lucky that when we bought this property, there were a lot of things already growing here, like these pecan trees I'm walking through, but also lots of wild blackberries, which the little black raspberries, they are my absolute favorite. My dad has them on his property, and I remember eating them as a kid, and they just bring back all those wonderful childhood memories. So I love that I have them here, and they are actually starting to turn. And yesterday I ate a little handful, and it was so good. So over here under our huge sycamore tree, where we have more elderberry and things like that, we also have our blackberries. So here's a little patch. There's also ones all around the woods, and the dark ones there in the center, so those are ready. So I will be coming back out to grab some more of those today. Alright, next we're gonna stop in the greenhouse. the little white moths have found my brassicas in there. I did pull that one beautiful cabbage, and I'm going to actually be making it for dinner tonight with some rice and things. But there is some damage in here from the little cabbage caterpillars that are all on that stuff, so I'm going to have to probably pull some things in here in the greenhouse. Alright, so here we are in the greenhouse. My snapdragons are still in here and doing well. My peppers look good, and the tomatoes that we planted. And then I did have a cabbage back here, the big one that was beautiful. I pulled it. Cilantro is just going wild, but in here we have a tomato that we planted in the back. Our kale is still looking gorgeous. What's left of the broccoli is bolting and starting to flower. I do need to cut those flowers back, maybe get a couple more. You can see there's a couple more heads of broccoli in here that I can cut, but it's about done for the season because it's getting too hot. And I had left some more broccoli here. Okay, so here is, so that one doesn't look too bad. And then look at this guy. It has just been attacked by the cabbage worms, so probably end up pulling all this stuff out and getting it reset, because here in just a couple months I'll be planting for fall again in here. There's another one down there, so we'll see what happens. I got my blueberries set so they can be under the drip, and my rosemary. And there is a mouse in here exploring. Do not potty in here, mouse. So outside the greenhouse, my strawberry boxes, they seem to be doing well. They're not like putting on a ton of growth, but that's okay. This is their first year, so I really want them to get established in this space. Back side of the garden. I spent a couple hours the other night just kind of going through our pollinator strip and pulling a lot of weeds out. And look at this, guys. This yucca, it is so tall. Like, hold on. Alright, look at this. I can't even reach up as high as this yucca is tall. Isn't that crazy? I really like having the yuccas here because they are green pretty much year round here. And they look so tropical, so you wouldn't think they would grow in Indiana, but they do. I really like that they look so, you know, tropical and warm and beautiful. They're starting to flower. So there's some irises in there, and they were getting completely choked out by weeds, so I got them cleared out. There's our comfrey that we cut just a couple weeks ago to put on the potatoes, and look how much it's come back. It's already, you know, knee-high again. So we have more irises and some yarrow, and I think I have made a mistake putting yarrow here because it is spreading into the garden. I love how thick and beautiful it is, but I may have to dig all the yarrow out. I do have some hyssop over here. There's more yarrow, another comfrey, and then we have some lavender that is also getting kind of overran by our yarrow. So I think that may be a project in the fall, is to just go ahead and pull all that yarrow and move it somewhere where it can kind of go wild, and put something else in here for the pollinators that is less aggressive. So our strawberries are looking lovely. Like, look at that one, so beautiful. Our onions that are in here are starting to flower, and I just think onion flowers are so pretty. There's another big beautiful strawberry. Our morning glories are starting to climb this side of our arch, and I do think I'm going to touch up the gate painting this summer. The clematis, they've already flowered. And then our garlic is here, and I have pulled scapes this week, and the bottom leaves are starting to die back, so it shouldn't be long before we have a harvest. So the chickens are having a great time today. I have let the babies out. So I've opened their cage in there just a little bit, enough for them to get in and out so they can get away from the big chickens, but they've been out adventuring. See if I can find them. All right, the babies are out and they're just kind of hanging out back here in this little back of the coop. There's a red chicken back there too with them. I don't know what they're doing. All right, I do have a mama chicken in there too, sitting on eggs. She's been sitting on them for about a week. So here in a couple weeks, we'll have some more little babies. Excuse me, sir. My rooster. All right, so I love hearing them. I love hearing the roosters. All right, so climbing over the electric fence. Always remember to turn that off. It hurts really bad when you grab it and it's not off. All right, next stop is the garden, my favoriteest place. All right, so here we are in the garden. These potatoes look so good on this side. My calendula is starting to bloom. I think it's so pretty. I use the flowers to make salves. They just look wonderful right now. I got some calendula in that corner that's starting to bloom as well. And then on this side we have our other potatoes, which are not looking as yellow since I pulled the pine chips off and added some comfrey. I probably need to add some more, but I think they look better. They still haven't caught up, but they are looking much, much better. So in here, I think our netting is working. Our kale looks beautiful. Then we have our cabbages starting to put heads on. I just think cabbage is so pretty. So it looks really good. I'm very happy with the netting. Okay, our next bed, I've said, is kind of a little bit of a mess because not everything came up, but I've replanted, so things should be coming up. So there are some zucchini, there are some squash in there that are starting to come up, and of course the rogue potatoes that were left from last year, and some radishes down here. I also added some marigolds, and then there is some nasturtium that you can see over here starting to come up, and I interplant with those to help with the squash bugs, and I feel like it has helped through the years. This is my third year doing that. All right, then we go over here. Our spinach is starting to bolt. It has been hot some days, so that is expected. Our lettuce is just looking beautiful. Lots of salads coming out of there, and our onions. I just think this is one of the prettiest beds in the garden. We have turnips, which are not quite ready. I pulled a couple the other day and they're still really small. And then all those carrots. Next we have our pepper and onion bed. Everything I think is looking pretty good. Peppers always take a while to start taking off, but they're looking nice. We have our Florida weave tomatoes. These are our aromas. It looks like I'm gonna have to add another string on there because they are starting to get pretty tall. On this side we have our hot waxies and onions, and then our big slicer beefsteak tomatoes. More. So this side is San Mazzaro, and then that side is Jersey Devil, and the Jersey Devils are not doing as good this year, so we'll just keep an eye on them. Then we have our little experimental bed that's kind of a Three Sisters modified. So we have corn in there, and then I have like pumpkins and squash, and we have some beans planted randomly, and then there's beans that are climbing that trellis. Look at that. We already have some that are pretty high. Look at that. Grow, babies, grow. And then on this side we have our corn, and when I started weeding in here, there were just a ton of volunteer tomatoes, so I left quite a few of them in there, and we'll just see how it goes. On this side of the trellis we have our cherry tomatoes, and they are already starting to flower, so that's exciting. I need to tie them to the fence again because they're getting really tall. And then on this side we have some sunflowers, and then in the bottom we also have some butternut squash. So I'm going to show you how tall this corn is because I am super excited. Alright, so around here we talk about corn being knee-high by the 4th of July. Look at this. It is, I don't know, thigh-high, and it is June 9th, so that's pretty awesome. The corn is looking really lovely, and then we have our cucumbers coming up, and they haven't quite started to climb yet, but they will very soon. We have some sunflowers, and then in the very back there are some watermelons. There's 3 watermelons back here. So this stuff will just take off and ramble, but overall I think the garden just looks so beautiful. It's that time of year where everything's still kind of orderly before it kind of gets really wild and crazy. So the chickens are out. Well, the homestead is looking really good right now, and I'm very excited about all of the fruit and vegetables that we're going to have coming our way. You know, that's our big thing, is growing our own food, and I'm super excited about how well the pigs are doing and how well the chickens are doing. I mean, it's just been a really good season so far. We've had a lot of rain, which has made everything just look great. Last year, I remember planting corn and it rained the next day, and then it didn't rain for a month, and everything really suffered from that. So I'm so happy we've been getting lots of rain. Everything looks super healthy and lush, and it's just, you know, it's my happy place. So thanks for hanging out with me, walking around the homestead. It's just gonna get more beautiful as the days go by, and I'll be making videos and sharing it with you. I hope your garden is growing well. Have a good one. I'll see you soon. Bye.